Hi guys, and of course, Happy New Year. We're celebrating today by just looking over the past year, all the incredible doll releases we got, and the ones that weren't so incredible. This has become something I do every year, and this is my third time doing it now, and it is easily one of my favorite annual traditions because it is just so fun to really put it all into perspective, you know? If I had to pick a theme for this year as far as fashion dolls go, I would say surprising, or maybe interesting, in both good ways and bad ways. I feel like there was a lot of experimenting happening this year, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but there was a lot this year that really did just surprise me, as I said. So the way this format goes, I will talk about my top 5 favorite doll releases of the year, and also my top 5 flops. And these can be single releases, they can be entire lines. I'm not too specific about that, other than the fact that they had to come out this year. And also, disclaimer here, this list is entirely subjective. It is a ranking, my ranking specifically, so it will cater to my personal interests and tastes. Your list probably would not look like mine, and that is perfectly okay. Also, this very much only applies to dolls that were like on my radar. So there's definitely dolls that deserve to be called flops that I'm not really including because I just didn't care about them, or I already expected them to be pretty awful, and so their release wasn't like a huge disappointment for me. Talking to you, 2023 holiday Barbie. I am interested in hearing what your list would be, of course, but if differing opinions on little plastic women are something that make you angry, I do advise that you just not watch these types of videos, just as a professional opinion. I think therapy might be a good option too, but I wouldn't want to push it. You do you. So yeah, no reason to linger too long here on the intro. Let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do get into it, there is a word from today's sponsor. So obviously, doll collecting can be a very expensive hobby. That's why I've always encouraged, budgeting and keeping track of your finances where collecting is concerned, just to make sure you don't get overwhelmed. And that's exactly where today's sponsor, Rocket Money, is here to help. Rocket Money is the personal finance app that allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, make a custom budget, and grow your savings all in one place. I love using Rocket Money for its budgeting feature. It literally basically does everything for you by analyzing your spending habits and creating a custom budget that fits with your lifestyle. It monitors your spending habits by different categories, and it also notifies you anytime you've exceeded your limits. Also, we collectors, we like to save money in any way that we can. So another great use of Rocket Money is that it helps you cancel subscriptions. It identifies recurring charges, and any of them that you don't want to keep paying for, you can cancel right there in the app. Super convenient, no calling customer service or anything like that. To save more money and spend less, join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/darlingdolls or click the link there in the description. From there, you can try out the free trial and see if Rocket Money works for you. Thank you so much to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into that ranking. So to kick things off, we're just going to be alternating between flops and faves. So starting with flop number 5, the Barbie movie dolls, just like in general. And I actually kind of agonized about putting them on this list because I like the dolls. I bought a few and I really enjoy them. I like the sculpts. I like the outfits. I think they were, mostly well executed. But, and it's a big but, I have to factor in 2 major things. One, the price. A lot of the dolls were, for some reason, 50 doll hairs and completely arbitrarily. Because you look at the lower price dolls and then the ones that were 50 and there's no big difference that justified that jump in price. And frankly, there was just nothing to justify them costing that much. It's like insulting almost, right? Mattel's basically saying, we know they're not worth this price, but we know you're going to pay that much. And I did pay that much, but I'm still going to complain about it, as is my God-given right. Another thing, what a pain in the ass these dolls were to acquire. And I can almost buy that it's not entirely Mattel's fault, that they simply underestimated the demand and thus stock issues happened. But this was such a recurring problem for Mattel throughout this entire year that I just have to believe that they do this on purpose, and they adamantly refuse to restock, and I don't know why. I don't know why they want to create this artificial scarcity when there are people actively trying to give them their money. I also think there was just a lot of wasted potential in the line. I think there's a lot of characters from the movie that I would jump at the chance to buy a doll of, but Mattel was really only interested in putting out more Kens. Which, good for the Ken lovers. I'm not mad at you guys, I promise, but it does feel like the line is just not utilizing everything the movie gave to it. And that's why they're at number 5, because I don't hate them. They're not bad dolls. They're good dolls, in fact, but there's just a lot of other factors working against them. Now, Fave, number 5. And I might be cheating a little because I think these are technically a 2024 release, but they've been out for a few weeks in a few places, so I'm counting them. Always Bratz, the first new Playline Bratz release in, 23 years. And you know that SpongeBob clip, it's what we've wanted all along. That's how I felt when I first saw these, because yes, reproductions are nice. Collector releases, they've mostly felt kind of flat for me personally, but great for the people who enjoyed them. A new all-original Playline release is exactly what I wanted to see from Bratz, and I think they really delivered. I'm not just excited for these, but also for the possibilities they bring too. We could absolutely get more releases down the line, more characters added on, etc. And that, more than anything, is what really signals to me that Bratz are back. And overall, I think they did a really good job too. I think all the girls' personalities and individual styles are showcased pretty well. The fashions are nice. There's some really great pieces here, some fun accessories. They're basically everything that I want when I think of buying Bratz, That said, there is something that prevents these from being higher on the list, and that's Jade. Now, Jade is my girl. She's my favorite Bratz character. The better portion of my favorite Bratz dolls are Jade's. But I don't love Jade in this line. I think they did her a little dirty. First off, capri fishnets in 2023, or 2024 for that matter, or any year past 1987, the tiny, short, little baby booties, which just feels like a crime on any Bratz doll. The red coat and the green sweater just gives Christmas colors to me. I don't know, I just don't feel her. But I do think the other 3 make up for her, honestly, especially Chloe. I think they just absolutely knocked it out of the park with Chloe. She's so stunning. I think she looks absolutely incredible. My favorite of the 4 for sure. But I'm really excited to see where the Always Bratz line goes in the future. Hopefully somewhere. I really, really hope this isn't just a one-off thing. Okay, back to the flops with flop number 4, the Monster High Off-White collection. And for these, I just have a big, resounding meh. They are just so profoundly unmemorable to me. And a lot of that is due to the fact that I don't vibe with Off-White as a brand. Their style is very much not my style. And that, in of itself, wouldn't be a huge problem. Rainbow High references Off-White all the time, and I don't usually mind it so much. But the thing is, I expect Rainbow High to do something like that. Off-White is very much in the wheelhouse of Rainbow High's pre-established identity and aesthetic. Monster High not so much. A Monster High, to me, is not like a runway fashion streetwear brand. I've just never associated them with that aesthetic. And, like, don't get me wrong. I think it's a good thing for Monster High to want to branch out and want to enter that world, but they definitely could have partnered with a brand that was more, I don't know, just in tune with Monster High. The dolls are well executed and they have some cool elements. I really like the base doll of the one who's like see-through. I think she looks really cool, but I don't like the outfits. I don't think they look very Monster High on top of already not appealing to my personal tastes. So they're just a flop for me. Also, $150. No, absolutely not. Flop. Fave number 4. LOL OMG Series 8. This is kind of a melancholic entry on this list because I just put out a video where I talked about how I was pretty sure that LOL OMG is in a pretty precarious spot and perhaps on the verge of being discontinued. But even so, I think Series 8 was absolutely one of the most exciting and standout releases of the year. I mean, like, just look at them, right? I know a lot of people don't like LOL OMG and can't get past the faces. I understand that. I fortunately don't have that issue, and I just think these are some of the coolest, most well-designed, most well-executed, I'm using that word a lot, fashions I've seen, just period. That's something that I've always just appreciated about LOL OMG. The individual aesthetic of each doll is so clear, so incredibly defined. You know exactly what kind of girl she is, and exactly what she's referencing as soon as you look at her. And they always manage to do it in a way that's so clever, like intelligent even, right? Because it's not like Rainbow High where the references are like one-to-one recreations, but still the inspirations come through so clearly. And I have to say, the quality of these dolls is really outstanding too. Pose, for example, I was so impressed when I unboxed her because her outfit had like just so many little details, so many different textures. Wildflower too, like I remember opening her and discovering all these little things that I didn't even catch on her stock images. I think this line as a whole just really expertly chose that line between fashion and camp that LOL OMG has always done really well. I think these are absolutely some of LOL OMG's best work, some of MGA's best work this year, and I will honestly be really disappointed if we don't get any more dolls that are just on this level of fun and creativity and quality. But I'm happy they exist. I'm happy to have them. Flop number 3. So, when it comes to the flops this year, there weren't so many releases that I actively hated. So much that I was just really ambivalent towards. Like, I saw the stock images and I kept scrolling. And when it comes to a release that I was the most, like, no thoughts, nothing to say, most tepid towards, completely forgot about half the time, that absolutely has to be the Bratz Kylie Jenner collaboration. And I know I'm gonna make some people mad with this. I already stirred some feelings up when I brought her up in one of my new releases videos. But when I tell you I feel absolutely nothing towards these dolls, I don't even have object permanence when it comes to them. I click off the pictures and then I completely forget about them. But look, I can't say they're bad dolls. They're not. Like, they're fine. But I already don't have a huge interest in celebrity dolls. I just never have. And I really, really don't care about Kylie Jenner. I don't hate her. I just don't feel anything towards her. And I know some of you out there are her parasocial bestie, and you think me not enjoying this release is tantamount to personally running her down with my car. But I think Kylie will be okay. I think she'll be just fine. The dolls just don't impress me that much. I've never viewed Kylie as a big personal style icon, so I don't really love the outfits they chose to recreate, and that's as far as it goes. I genuinely don't have a lot to say about these specifically because it's just such a nothing release to me. Alright, halfway through the list now. Fave number 3, Disney Illy Forever. If you want to talk about a surprise release, these literally came out of nowhere. So I do enjoy some Disney stuff from time to time. I grew up on a lot of Disney movies, as any American child did. I like the Disney princesses and all, but I wouldn't really classify myself as a Disney fan, especially not a hardcore one. I just don't necessarily have the attachment to Disney that a lot of other people seem to. Still, I was pretty enamored with these dolls. For one, just like appearance-wise, proportions and everything, really cute, but I think the concept is what drew me in even more. The idea of Disney bounding is not something I'm like incredibly familiar with. I'm not a Disney parks person either. I've only been once in my entire life. But the idea of dolls that don't necessarily represent a certain character, but rather a fan of that character, I don't know, I just think it's really interesting and really cute. And I think it sends a good message, too, for children, how you don't necessarily need to physically resemble a character to appreciate them and see yourself in them, that you can still love them and dress up as them regardless. I also think it's really fun to have a Playline Disney doll line that isn't all fantasy and princess dresses, as much as I love a good princess dress. This just has so many more possibilities, and it's really cool to see characters that are maybe underutilized on the fashion doll side of things. Flop number 2, the Integrity Toys 7 Deadly Sins collection. So if you don't know, this was this year's convention collection from Integrity Toys. And if you don't know how Integrity Toys conventions work, I don't either. I haven't been a club member for very long, so I'm not the person to explain it. But what I do know is that this is supposed to be like their big annual event that combines a bunch of their different brands and designers all coming together. The theme for this year was 7 Deadly Sins, which, yes, such a good theme. That's gotta be exciting, right? Not really. Overall, I was incredibly disappointed, and that's kind of a running theme with Integrity Toys lately. I just feel like a lot of their designs, compared to what I've seen from past years, are really safe and forgettable. Like I said, I would start including them more regularly in my new releases videos, and I haven't really done that because I literally forget about them. And no collection really emphasizes that more than the 7 Deadly Sins one, so let's just look at them, right? Lust, a woman in lingerie, groundbreaking, right? Never been done before. And like, I love a lingerie doll, but compared to a lot of lingerie dolls from IT specifically, she doesn't stand out at all. Sloth, cute pajamas would be cuter if they weren't on literally the ugliest man I've seen in my entire life. Envy, green, groundbreaking, cute, admittedly, but if I saw this doll on her own, I would never in my entire life guess that she came from a line that's supposed to be the 7 Deadly Sins. Greed. Okay, I did buy this one. I think she's really cute and very much an aesthetic that I really love, but I do still take issue with the fact that I would never guess the theme if I just saw this doll on her own, even if she is gorgeous. Wrath. I actually like this one. If I had the funds to buy another doll from the collection, she would have been my next choice for sure. I think she's the only one that seemed to get pretty clever with the theme, because a punk, almost Vivienne Westwood-inspired getup is really such a good way to tribute Wrath. Vanity. I didn't even think this dress was cute when Zendaya wore it, and I definitely don't think it's cute covered in metallic, cheap-looking sequins. Also, where's the vanity? Like, where is it? The fact she has a mirror? That's so boring. I'm bored. And by far the worst one, gluttony. I just want to ask whoever designed this, what about this says gluttony? Is it just the fact her dress is poofy around the waist? Because if so, overall, I think this collection just exhibits such a stark lack of imagination. There's no creativity. It's so literal, so uninspired. And for dolls that, like, their whole thing is this presentation of exclusivity and luxury, It doesn't feel like they're putting in the work to elevate the dolls to a level they need to be in order to accomplish that. I hate to throw around the word lazy, but a lot of the stuff here really does read as lazy to me. And I mean absolutely no disrespect to the designers, because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I can only judge what's put in front of me, you know? Fave number 2, Vampire Heart Draculaura. Definitely my favorite collector doll I've bought this year. I think she is just such an incredible doll. You know when you look at a doll and you just remember so vividly how it felt to see her in the box and how excited you were to unbox her? That's how I feel every time I look at her. She's over there, by the way, out of frame. I get comments every now and then asking why I don't collect Monster High dolls. I do, I just keep them on a shelf that's next to my desk, so they're off camera. Anyways, I just can't get over how gorgeous she is. Everything from the face to the hair to how they executed the outfit. Picture perfect. And part of why I think I love her so much is because I just never imagined I would get a doll like this from Monster High, you know? Overall, their collector releases have not been amazing to me. A few I've liked, but nothing that I thought really screamed collector or luxury or deluxe until she came along. I love a ball gown on a doll, and I just think this is such an interesting way of doing one. The design is so elegant, so mature, but still retains some of that camp from Monster High that I've come to know and love. She really is kind of on a league of her own, which is a little disappointing to say, because I wish every Monster High collector doll was on this level, but she's just really amazing. I do have one thing to say though, and it's to Mattel. So, Mr. Mattel, if you're listening, come, scoot closer, right here, next to me. I'm leaning in, I'm talking directly into your ear now. Stop putting those disgusting plastic anchors directly into a doll's head, especially if she costs $100 fucking dollars. I have never been more serious about anything in my entire life. Stop. They are ruining my life. Okay, Mr. Mattel, you're free to go. But I'm watching you. And now, the dubious honor of the number 1 flop of 2023. Technically, it's kind of a dual reward, but they're also technically in the same release umbrella, so I'm counting them together. Anyways, it's the Monster High Holiday dolls, specifically Holiday Claudine and the Valentine's Day Cleo and Deuce pack. These were both huge misses for me. Claudine because, well, it's another quote-unquote collector doll in a basic mermaid-style dress. Again, not to throw out the word lazy, but yeah, it feels lazy. It doesn't feel like a lot of thought went into her at all. There's nothing here that really says to me, you know, Claudine Wolf, and hardly anything that says holiday either. I just think they really, really dropped the ball with this one. And whereas Claudine was more just unimpressive, Cleo and Deuce were, and to put it bluntly, ugly, just really ugly. When I first saw the pictures of these, I honestly wondered for a second if I was seeing a release for Monster High Generation 2, because the print on Cleo's dress is just it's so juvenile, and the style and the cut of it are just so complete nonsense that I honestly don't see how this design made it past the first sketch. Like, I genuinely don't. This is just not an outfit I would want to see on a Playline doll, much less something meant to be on a collector's release. It is just so outstandingly, inexcusably bad. Everything from the color choices to the accessories to the print on her dress is what really gets me. It's just so childish. And I would never in a million years imagine Cleo wearing something like this. I think she would go into anaphylactic shock if she tried to wear something of this caliber. I think her body would physically and emotionally reject it. So, Yeah, suffice to say, I don't like this doll. I think both releases were just really misguided and definitely deserve their spot as my #1 flop of 2023. Okay, now before we talk about my #1 favorite of 2023, we do have to go over some lovely honorable mentions. Style Bay. Definitely the strangest release of the year. I would not ever regard them as like the most amazing dolls, but I have definitely grown to love them just for the sheer shock factor. Something about them is just so endearing. I don't know if we'll ever get like a series 2 or more of them at all, but I actually want to see more of them. I really do. Enchantimals. Still alive, still going strong, it seems. The hashtag Rika line, which did make my faves for 2022, but unfortunately not this year. But I still wanted to mention the line for bringing back Jenny, which was another extremely pleasant surprise for this year. And finally, I have to at least give a mention to the new Rainbow High dolls. I've seen the word reboot thrown around a lot, and I don't think that's entirely accurate. I think a more appropriate word would be rebranding, but obviously they're a hot topic. I don't think I could really feature them one way or the other in this video because I just need time to stew on them and really form a proper opinion on the new direction. But I'll say for now that my perspective is largely not very positive. Still, I'll wait for a future video to give more detailed thoughts. Okay, and now the moment we've all been waiting for, my #1 favorite of 2023. And I think it's going to be a little controversial, actually. It surprised me, honestly. But when I think about what dolls got me the most excited to get in my car and go to the store to try and hunt them down, and made me the happiest when I found them, and just how much joy they bring me each time I see them and how much I want more, well, it has to go to the magic Mixies Pixlings. Look, these little girls are just so gorgeous. The painting and the detail in their faces and the work that went into each individual design is incredible. They're just fun. I don't know how else to describe them except fun. And I can acknowledge they're not for everyone. They are on a smaller scale compared to, say, the traditional fashion doll, and you're not really getting a whole lot compared to them either, right? But they're just so cute. I can tell just from looking at them that so much love and passion and imagination went into creating these, and that's one of my favorite things, when you can just tell how much fun the team had behind a doll when they were putting them together. I will say I'm not super in love with the unboxing gimmick, because I know when I buy more, I'm going to end up with like 20 huge plastic bottles that I have no idea what to do with. And the bottles can be reused for one purpose or another, I know that, but I just really don't need several of them, and I also feel bad throwing them away, so that can use some tweaking, please. But that aside, I'm just so enamored with these. Obsessed, I would say. Ever since I saw the first 3, every single piece of news about future releases, about more of the Pixlings, has just gotten me so excited. So while I don't think they are objectively the best dolls or the highest quality dolls or anything like that, they are for sure my personal favorites of 2023. And I can't wait to see what happens with them in 2024. I just need a million of these ladies. And there we have it, my flops and my faves of 2023. As I said earlier, please, by all means, let me know your personal favorites and least favorites of the year too. Let me know which parts of my list you agreed with, which parts you disagreed with, and tell me if you've got any big New Year's resolutions. Mine is to try and stop having the most perfect and most objectively correct opinions all the time. It's really becoming a problem for me. But when you're done with that, just be sure to like and subscribe for any future fashion doll content. Thank you.